another episode of Café, Amistad y Éxito. I am your host, Liz Rabago, with another great and amazing guest who's going to be talking to us about resources that we have in this community. The topic today is on childcare. Yadel, thank you for being here. And thank you for taking the time to come and talk to the community about the resources that we have in childcare. Can you please start by telling us a little bit about yourself, what you do at CCRNR? And I know I'm just like saying all these acronyms, but you will be explaining to us what those mean. And also the difference between CCRNR and CFR.
Yes, thank you, Liz, for having me. So my name is Yadel Liz, and I am the Community Engagement Specialist for what is, you're saying CCRNR is Child Care Resources and Referral. And we are a free statewide program that is funded by the Arizona Department of Economic Security. And what we do is we are out in the community giving out resources on child care subsidy, how to apply for child care. We're not necessarily DES, but we do assist. We're kind of like the outreach part of them.
Okay, thank you. And so if I were a family and I'm looking to find childcare, what would be the first thing that I need to do?
So if you're looking for childcare, you would give us a call to our resource line. And on there, we have 3 outstanding women that take our calls. And what they'll do is they ask you an amount of questions to see where your family needs might be. There are differences in different type of child cares when it comes to like our in-home providers, our child care centers, just like registered providers, which means they are not necessarily working with the state departments. So they're not fully certified through them, but they are, in a sense, certified through us, where we ensure that they still have like a background check, first aid CPR type of training. So we kind of like prompt you and educate the family on what the differences in those child cares may be and what best fits them. We're going to ask them like the hours that they might need childcare for, the area that they need it in. Do they prefer it near their work or near home? Do they need transportation because they may have other children in school? So do they want something closer to the school so they can have a provider that picks them up? So once we get all this information from the client, we're able to minimize the list of the child cares in their area.
And so let's say that is all this information on the website. Do people need to go and register on the website, or does it have to be over the phone conversation?
So they can definitely go on our website. They can call the 1-800 number. If they see me out in the community, I can also get on the website with them and show them how to maneuver through it. I always prefer calling in because it's just easier to give the information and let them do the work for you. And what they'll end up doing is by end of day, they will send you that minimized list to your email.
So if I will just be thinking, if I was a family and I wanted to look for childcare, I would go into a computer or call you and let you know that these are my needs, and you will be filling out all these forms. Is there like a requirement that I need to meet in order for you to get all the information, in order for me to get that list of resources?
You do not need to meet any requirement. There's anybody can call in and do it. Even like a third party, if you're like a grandparent that also has like your grandkids and you're kind of helping your daughter out, your son out, and trying to find child cares and give them that information. Obviously we need like the children's age. There's no personal information given, so like no social security, anything like that.
Okay.
Now if they're needing like subsidies, we don't do any of that type. Subsidies are like grants, scholarships. We can let them know and guide them to businesses that hold those type of subsidies or grants. And then they would have to go that route through those companies.
Okay, so I want to make sure that I understand this correctly. So I register with CCRNR, and then I get a list of this child cares or family group homes. Is that correct?
Correct.
So
yes.
both of them. And right now we're going to go into having you maybe explain each one of them just so that we know, like, how do families make a decision to register their children in a center or in a family and I'm gonna say a registered family childcare home. So that would be one of the questions. Um, but before going there, can you tell me, once people register and get a list of that, get that list, how do they go about subsidies? Do they do that with the center or with directly with the subsidy or the agency that's giving the subsidy?
So if they're looking at state subsidies, which is through the Child Care Arizona Department of Economic Security, they would have to go to DES.
Okay.
And they would go and fill out a whole application. And it is always dependent on income. So it is income based. It has everything to do with children. So you will need like the birth certificate, type of stuff, like that type of information in regards to the children. Okay. So the parents don't have to be residents. They don't have to have legal documentation as long as the children are legally here.
Okay.
So that's always important, especially with what's going on in the moment. When it comes to like grants and scholarships that are ran like PEEPS or anything else that goes through First Things First, Quality First childcare grants and scholarships, that all goes through our providers. Okay. So the child care centers or the in-home providers hold those as long as they're passing their ratings with them.
So if I were a parent, can I interview like all the centers and family group homes so that I can know what kind of resources they offer before I make the decision, or it doesn't work that way?
Most definitely.
Okay.
So the best education we give the parents is we are giving you this list. We are meeting your needs on what you're telling us that you need. Now it's your turn to do this part of advocacy and go check out every single childcare that we give you. Ask all the allotted questions. They will always send them a list of questions to also ask. Nice. What's most important to them? Like, is it home cooked meals? Are your hours actually this? When is nap time? Do you guys force them to nap? You know, it's like simple questions to very important questions. Like, what are your safety procedures? Yeah. What if there is a fire? Like, what are your exits? So we definitely always try to educate our parents to go out there and actually speak to these people and even take their kids to see what kind of feel they have for it.
That's perfect. One of the things that I always worried about is as a mother and having sometimes two jobs, how do I find that time, or what are well, I can do it online at any time, but if I wanted to talk to a staff person, like if I want to talk to you, are you available during like outside of business hours on the weekends, or what would you recommend to a family that is working on a regular 8 to 5 job?
So right now for our line, it is Monday through Friday now. We used to have Saturdays, but we weren't seeing a high volume coming in. Our highest volume right now seems to be like morning drop off time, and then midday, which is probably when the parents are out to lunch. Okay. So we are now Monday through Friday, 7 to 7, I believe, or 7 to 8.
That's good.
Yeah. So it is a great like time period. We did take some time to really see and reevaluate if we wanted to remove Saturdays, but the need wasn't there anymore. Okay. If anything, there is like a voicemail prompt that you will get, and the girls do check that regularly. Also, if you email out to them, that's on our website. They will answer you also through there. For me, I work random hours. I do have like my own personal work phone that I do answer messages through. My timing is 8 to 5, in all technicality, but I do work weekends because I go out into the community and do like resource fairs. Any voicemails that are left, I check them and then I'll get back to anybody as soon as possible.
Yes, I sent you a text message this morning at 7:30, and I got a response right away.
Yeah.
So, yes, yes. So another thing for parents, so there are no requirements. It would just go in there, get a registered, and then get a list of the childcare that is available in their area, right?
Correct.
It is based
Yeah.
on their area where they live or their zip code. And then once they get that list, they will call an interview with them. Let's talk a little bit about the rating or the star. Like, how do I look at that list that you're going to send me based on the stars? Or can you talk a little bit about what that means?
So the STARS is a program called Quality First. Quality First is funded separately from us. They do let us know the ratings. What they do is they go out into the childcares that hold their ratings, and they kind of have to hold specific what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, like a quality of care. They have to follow certain rules, certain regulations, additional from state regulations. So this is all a whole separate scenario, and they will give them their ratings. 3 to 4 stars is excellent ratings. Anything below, they kind of lose scholarships. So as long as you hold a 3 or 4, your childcare will hold an allotted amount of scholarships. There isn't a specific amount for each childcare. It just depends what was available at that moment.
Tell me about the rate. So if I find a 5-star center, would they charge me more than a 3-star? Is that based on how much they're going to be charging, or it doesn't matter?
So that wouldn't necessarily matter. It is, I think, these when it comes to in-home and obviously centers, they're holding their own businesses, so they have the right to charge whatever they're going to charge.
Yeah.
And usually, what I've seen, it is depending on your area of town. So I do think that they try their best to match like their scenario of what they know people will be able to afford within those areas. I think holding the 4 stars does give you that extra, incentive to be like, hey, I am working extra hard. This childcare is looking excellent. We are on top of things. The price needs to match the work. So I do know that some of them may charge a little bit more, but it's not always the case.
Perfect. So what we're going to do is we will be adding the phone number and the website to the description of this podcast or the recording so that people can reach out and get more information. And this is on the family side, right? So anything else that we want to add before we move into the provider side? So anything else that we need to tell families when they're calling or they're looking for childcare that we're missing?
No, I would just, I guess, tell them to ensure that they know exactly what they're seeking out of a child care. I guess going back a little bit to the differences in childcare, the girls on the line will definitely talk to you and educate you on what the differences in the child cares are. But it's always good to keep in mind, like, what your preferences would also be. The differences, like, between in-home childcare and centers is always, I always say it's like that feeling between like, do you want to feel more homey or more school structured? Not saying that the in-home is not structured, because those women work really hard and they are, but it gives more that school feel, that environment of a building, versus in-home. You also get more home cooked meals. Yeah. So do you want that homier feel, or do you want that like school feel, I guess? So I always try to educate people on what that might be the difference, and to also walk their children in. I know personally, I'm a mom. I'm a mom of 3, and I still have a toddler in childcare. So I definitely went and interviewed people. I went on my own, and then I went with my partner, and then we took to the top 3 that we liked. We took our little girl, and we kind of got a feel like, okay, she really didn't even want to touch a toy in this place, versus like she just ran off and played. So I always like to direct it that way. As parents, we make that first choice, but maybe you want to see how your child is in that environment also, and how the teachers treat your child within that environment as they're exploring.
I agree, and I think it's very important what you just said. A lot of the times we're in such a hurry to find childcare, right? To place our kids because we have to get to work or we have to do this. But I like that you're saying let's take the time to figure out if this is going to be a good fit, not only for us as parents, but also for the child. I think that's
Yes.
very important. So I think with your guidance and your support, that's going to be very, very beneficial for families. I appreciate that part of the organization. Okay, anything else before we move into the providers? So what I like from CCRNR is that there are two parts of it, right? The family side, what we just talked about, it's like how you're supporting all of the families to find the best match for their childcare. And on the other side, we have the provider side, right? You work with childcare providers to educate them. Talk to me about that part.
So I feel like CCRNR, we're a resource hub in general. So to like conclude with the family part, we will research anything for the family. Even if they accidentally called us and they're trying to find a food bank, we research it for them and we'll give them the information. So we try our best to like just touch any base that we have to. And when it comes to the providers, it's the same thing. We want to be a resource hub. In the past, we have been a lot more involved with the providers where we used to hold trainings in the facility of CFR and do a lot more things with them, which we are still trying to keep that connection and link. Now it's more like support. Like we want to be the fly on the wall, kind of listening to what they're doing. That way, in case whomever is teaching is not available, we want them to know that we are also available. And if for whatever reason I can't find the problem, I know who they went to, and now I can speak with that person and say, hey, so and so was asking about this and they couldn't get a hold of you, so they got a hold of me. How can we make that connection? CCR&R is how can I explain it? We were kind of like the educators of childcare in the beginning. And as obviously, funding changes and what the funder wants, that kind of evolved into something different. But we are trying our best to be that resource, even when it comes to helping them make business cards or the new way of technology. If they don't know it, we figure it out with them, for them. Obviously, still educating that way. Once we are not in the picture, they can still manage everything on their own.
So empowering them.
Yes.
Right. I like that. So if I am a provider and I call you, to do business cards or help me look for some resources, you will do that part.
Yes.
And what about the part of their business? So they are in your website as providers. Are they the ones that need to be updating that information, or does the DHS, how does that happen on the side of your website?
So it goes both ways.
Okay.
We make monthly calls to all the providers. We are a statewide company, so it's all through Arizona. So we will make the calls, but also when they have an update, it is always best practice to also call us and say, hey, 2 kids just left. I have vacancy for 2 more kids. And that way we update it sooner before we reach them. The way that works is we just have like an allotted list and we start making the calls as we go down each list and kind of check it off. But it could be that by the time we got to the 10th person, maybe the first person already had a change happen in their childcare. They also can call us to let us know that they just qualified for the 3rd star or the 4th star. We won't take like their word for it, but now we can go and call quality first and say, hey, so-and-so just give us a call that they've been promoted to 3rd star, 4th star. Is this true? And then they'll send us their list of the people and then we can go in and update it. So it is a 2-way street. But we do try our very best to get a hold of everybody within an allotted time. But yeah, so for the providers, in the sense of being in our program, it's basically like free advertisement. So they come, they give us all their information, and now they get to be part of our big list. And then now we get to help people find their childcare when it's needed in their area. Some people even call in directly asking for certain childcares, and we'll look for like the name, and then we can figure out which childcare they were talking about and give them the information that they needed for it.
That's perfect. I have been at your website, and I like how you just put in a zip code and then you get a list of all this, and it was very interesting. I just did a search last week. I put in a zip code and I noticed that there were only childcare centers, no group homes or DES certified providers, and that was very interesting for me to see. And I thought, well, maybe there are some, but they're still not registered with you. Would that be the case?
That could be the case, that there could be still people that have not registered with us. Usually DHS, which is the state, will give us a list of providers that have opened up new child care centers, new in-home, and then we will give them a call to kind of get them on there. But they also have to return our calls.
Of course.
If they don't answer, they have to return our calls so we can get them on there. The other thing is I was not with our company during COVID, but unfortunately COVID did die down our in-home providers. We had a lot more than we do now. So we are looking for providers, guys. There's a lot of kids out there that are needing child care for in-home centers, whatever they feel like they're able to accommodate and open.
Do you have any resources for providers who want to start, like get certified with DES or DHS? Are there any resources with CCRNR?
So through our website, they can go and request like information on how to become a childcare provider. And then we will email them or call them and give them the information that's needed. Unfortunately, right now, we don't have any sort of like funding to help like startups or anything in that form. But we can definitely walk them through like what it is like to apply with DHS. Talk to them more directly about like the certifications they may need, the background checks, anything more in depth, because they're going to get like a big document that they just have to read over, and we kind of study it back and forth to know exactly how to answer those questions.
Going back to, I'm going to keep going back and forth with the families and the providers. I was reading that there's not going to be a waiting list anymore, that there's enough funding at DES for families to apply for childcare. Is that correct?
Unfortunate information is incorrect. We did get a good subsidy amount of, I believe it was 44 point something, almost 45 million. That allotted amount did go out in August 1st, I think, at the beginning of this month. And it went to level 1 and level 2. So the levels are all determined by where people stand financially. So those are our families that need the most financial assistance. So they make less.
So all of them went through though.
So they did say that, from what I heard, is level 1 and level 2 did go through, but the wait list still sits. And that we definitely do still need more funding in order to cover.
But is that on the level 3 and over?
Level 3 and over, yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure that like the people in the most need that are the ones that have been covered.
Yes. So from my understanding, yes, they have. And again, it goes back to they sent out an email for them. If they did not respond to the email in time, because they did ask for them to resubmit documents. So if they did not get their information in time, or if their situation happened to have changed, where they made a little bit more, or maybe they just didn't need it anymore. Maybe hopefully they got, better paying jobs or anything like that, that would have removed them from being able to be on the list.
And they are removed from the list or put back into the waiting list if
they would have to reapply.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. So if families are listening to us, if you got that email, well, maybe now it's too late, but make sure that you follow through on that email, and make sure that you communicate with DES to reapply, because the list will continue to be there, the waiting list, unfortunately, until we get more funding. Yeah, there anything else that we want to add to either the family side or the provider side with all of the resources that you offer through CCRNR?
I would just say give us a call for any question you may have. If you feel like maybe we don't even know the answer, we probably do. We've worked so long with the community that we kind of know even resources that aren't even applicable to us, but we can guide you to exactly where to find it, and possibly the person to find it with. We will go out to any event. I go out and do presentations. So if any other companies need to learn more about CCRNR, I can go out and do presentations. We are statewide. So what my job position is all over Arizona. We have we have girls in Phoenix. We have a gentleman out in Sierra Vista. We're in Northern California. Oh my God, I wish. We're in Northern Arizona. So if it's ever needed, we're there for any resources. We try to be as knowledgeable as we can. We join any meetings that we can when it comes to childcare, the subsidies when it comes to legislative work. We try our best to stay as updated as possible.
Yes, I remember I had you at one of the classes in Nogales, so you also cover Santa Cruz. But yes. I mean, do you go out to each of those counties to do presentations?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
So we all each cover specific counties. Mine directly is Pima, all of Pima County, okay, and all of Santa Cruz. So I go down all what I like to call the pretend coast. So I go down all the coast there, and I will do presentations at any business with any parent classes, anything that, they just need a little bit more guidance in like the childcare realm. We have our Sierra Vista, he does like different, I don't even know the counties out there, honestly, but they all cover different counties. Gila, everything is covered from head to toe. And if we don't have a representative out there, they will send one of us.
Right. Okay.
They will ensure that we cover every little inch of Arizona. From state to state. Yeah.
Okay. That's good. So that is everything that we need to know for CCR and R. Mm-hmm. Now let's talk just a little bit about CFR.
So CFR is Child Family Resources. Mm-hmm. That is the big company that we fall under, so the big umbrella. Mm-hmm. And then we have various different departments, I like to call it, in order to explain a little bit more simply, different departments that fall under that. They're all funded differently. They're all run by their own companies in a sense. But CFR is like the big house, basically, yeah.
And that is the organization or the company that funds or does the food program for providers. Am I correct?
Yes, so we do have a food program under them. Mm-hmm. The food program is for child care, and I believe it's also for elderly care.
Oh, okay.
So any childcare provider that is registered and is running their business can go there, and it's also, they all follow their additional rules. Mm-hmm. They will have their people go out there, check out the house. You have to make sure to have like a food plan, and they base it off of like healthy foods, obviously. Yes.
Okay, and that is something that they would need to apply through CFR, but that's something that you help them with as well, or would they get? Okay.
Yeah, I can definitely help guide them to them and to the direct person that they need to speak to when it comes to the food programs. I forgot. I just lost my train of thought on that. But yeah, it is a whole other application. I think that's where I was going with this. Sorry. It is a whole other application that they go through, and there is an incentive to having it. They don't fully cover every amount of money spent, but it is a great assistance. And I think it's great quality. So they're trying to ensure that the kids are and the elderly are being fed correctly in the best, healthiest manner.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's very good. So people that have questions about that program as well will call the same number that we will be putting in that description. Is that correct?
Yeah, they can.
Okay, definitely. Great. Well, this has been a lot of information to take on in just this time. So maybe we will have you again sometime so that we can keep bringing to the community all of these resources. There are so much need when it comes to childcare. If there is anything else that comes in, like from now until we meet again, please let us know. The community, the Saurita Food Bank here, it's always looking for resources so that we can share it with the community. So please reach out if there's anything new that happens in childcare.
Yes, please have us out again, and let me know if you guys need anybody else. I will make sure everybody comes out to talk.
Thank you for joining us in one more episode of Café, Amistad y Éxito. We will see you on the next episode.